It's a bull. Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got the live LBTS camera up today, and it's like 73 degrees. Absolutely gorgeous out there. Sunny blue skies. Man, I love living in Florida. What a great state we have here. Well, I hope you are enjoying your day as well, no matter where you are. And to all my South Florida peeps and customers down here, hope you're having a great day as well. Come by and see me. Metal prices are looking not too bad today, actually. I'm kind of surprised. I figured we'd see a little bit of hemorrhaging with other markets kind of taking a giant dump here. I know I normally start out with the CCE spot prices, but I thought this was kind of, the stock market, we've been waiting and talking about when the stock market will take a dump, so to speak, and I don't mean that in a negative kind of way, but at some point it just kept going up and up and up, little corrections. The fundamentals are just, they're really not there per se. It's just money, fresh money getting pumped into the system is what we've seen. I think we're starting to see that reversal right now. Dow down almost 500 points, NASDAQ down 219. I think that this market collapse, in my opinion, I hate to use the word collapse, and I do apologize for that. Again, I'm not anti-equities or anything like that. I'm not anti-anything. I think that as long as it's legal and you're not hurting anybody, you should be able to trade whatever you want to do. The cryptos to equities to gold and silver. But no less, after watching the 2008 style collapse that we had, the bubble, we've got really the greatest bubble of all time happening right now. I mean, it's just a sick amount of money out there being printed, a sick amount of money being invested when there's really no great profits in some of this stuff. What is the best thing? Apple keeps continuing to go up in value, except maybe this week or as of recent. But what is the coolest thing Apple has made? Their phones aren't, in my opinion, their phones aren't any better than the other phones now. They kind of suck on that. They're not crazy, selling crazy amounts of phones anymore. I mean, I'm sure there's still the top number one in probably the U.S., I would think. I heard that the number two phone in China, but no less. What have they done? What have you done for me lately? Nothing. Apple's really done nothing. There's talk about an Apple car, but again, I digress. What I'm just talking about is stocks in general. I mean, if you take a look at maybe your pharmaceuticals, which have benefited the last couple of years. I guess you can guess why some pharmaceutical companies have benefited in the last few years. But other than that, I mean, where's the fundamentals? There is none, and very little out there. And this market is going to eventually at some time start to go down. It looks like we're seeing it now. However, will it be one of those big, massive, in a short period of time downs? I don't think so. I think that the financial institutions, governments, maybe not governments, but financial institutions, bankers, people in the equities industry have learned that maybe how to, instead of seeing a big overnight crash or a big short-term crash, I think what we're going to see is the death by 1,000 cuts. You're going to see a lot of little knockdowns. But again, tough to say. Look at this, minus 600 points right now, down 1.75%. NASDAQ's down 1.57. So kind of interesting. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what the other entity is doing there. Same thing, down quite a bit. And we'll take a look at the 1 month chart. And over the course of the month, not too good. What is the low? It looks like a low here is, what is the low? Can't really tell. Was that a flash crash? 42. And it looks like we might be heading back to that mark as well here. And let's take a look and see what gold's doing today. Again, not too, I suspected that we'd see some monkey hammering today or last night, but not really. Maybe people are just so focused on taking care of their equities portfolios, or maybe the big bankers that like to trash gold are so overwhelmed right now with their equity portfolios that they don't have time to look at gold and silver, but that's probably not the case. Currently, it's sitting at, I'm going to do a quick refresh here, 1796.50. Low of 1795.38, so we're just off that low and the high of 1804. We'll take a look at the 24-hour charts and see when that happened. 22.42 on silver, and let's see, a low of 22.22, and we're just a couple cents above that low, and 22.47 being the high. Again, surprisingly, I thought we were going to see a sub $22 silver today, and maybe a sub 1790s or something like that, 1780s, 1770s in gold, but I guess not. Platinum holding on that above 900 mark. We did see it touch below 900. Great buying opportunity when it did. I still think it's a great buying opportunity at this level, even if it drops down to 850 like our chart guy is predicting it will. Let's take a look at palladium. We don't talk about it much, but man, such crazy moves here. Look at that, a low of 1700, a high of 1791. Man, that's like almost a $100 spread there. Currently kind of sitting in the middle here. Just wondering what the hell's going on with palladium. Is palladium a great buy at these levels? I still don't know. I'm not really sure. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's take a look at the 24-hour charts, and going to be a quick show today. Not a lot to talk about unless we want to sit here and talk about how equities are hemorrhaging and how cryptos are not doing so well. And gold is kind of like holding its own, and silver. So far. Let's see. Once we get New York is kind of choppy here. 24-hour gold bid. Let's take a look here. That was last night's opening. You see the red line. Kind of a lot of sideways action there. And then here's today's market right here. And let's see, London kind of a little bit down below that 1800 mark. And it looks like in New York, a lot of choppy action, but still down. Again, not much. We're sitting at close to that $1,800 mark. So gold's showing some pretty damn good strength in the face of all this equity hurricane that we're having right now in equities and bonds and the stock market in general and the crypto markets. Metals are doing quite well, surprisingly. Let's see if it holds up for the rest of the week here. 24-hour chart on silver shows us same kind of thing. That was yesterday, last night's opening, kind of sideways in the above $22 mark, and 22 up until, let's see, New York opens. And of course, where we mostly see monkeying and hammering into the silver market is where, folks? COMEX, the crooked COMEX markets. But again, tough to say. This isn't really a big down day or anything. This is 10 cents, 20 cents. So let's kind of see where this ends up here. If it ends up in the above $22 range and every other market kind of starts hemorrhaging, that's probably a good sign for us that we're going to be okay at these levels. Again, if they don't and they drop, it just provides a great opportunity to buy the dips for you folks that are still stacking. I'm not going to talk a lot about gold and silver prices. I'm kind of curious to see how they hold up this week, as you are. If they drop, folks, again, like I said, I think it's a great opportunity to buy the dips. Meanwhile, some pretty good strength hanging on to these levels right now, I think, considering everything else that's happening at the moment. Wall Street silver, haven't talked about the Apes in a little while. I was just kind of going through some pages, and this gentleman right here got me thinking about buying foreign silver. I mentioned it a couple times. There's a bunch of cool stuff in here. I believe there's a British, I think those are shillings. Don't buy these right here. These are the Mexican, what are they, 100 pesos or something like that, and they're 100 fine silver, 10% silver. You can't even find anyone to actually melt them, and you can't put them in your silver melt because you'll throw your silver melt way off because there's just too many alloys in this. So those are 10% silver. The rest of the stuff here looks like British. There's a oh, there we go. There's a, what is it, Maria Teresa right there. Restrike, 1780. They're struck with the same year. I think there's 0.7 ounces of these. Little pricey right now. I have them in my store. I've got a couple hundred of them left here. I got them cheaper than anyone else has them online, and cheaper than the online resellers. But I still think they're too much at the $24, $25 range. If you can pick them up cheaper than that, great. A lot of stuff, and there's looks like a Panama quarter right there. And a Panamanian dime, actually, because they're the size of a dime. Not many people know this, but United States made the coinage for Panama for many years. We made, their 10-cent piece right there, you can see, and a quarter. Believe it or not, they used the exact same amount of silver back then when Panama and the United States, when we were making the coins for Panama. I'm not sure if we still do. Same weight, same diameter, same width, same everything. Basically, Panamanian coinage, dimes, quarters, and halves, were duplicates of our coins, just with different designs. I don't think they, again, I'm not sure if we still produce a coinage for Panama or if they do it themselves now. There's an Australian piece. Anyways, foreign silver, if you're going to buy foreign silver, try to keep it at least 800 fine or above. 900, I'd rather see you buy 900 fine or above, but avoid the less than 800 fine items out there, maybe some of the Mexican stuff. And again, if you're going to buy foreign silver, make sure that you're getting it for spot, or very close to spot or under spot, because the problem with this stuff, it is a great buy, don't get me wrong. And it's probably a better buy for people in the industry because we don't have to incur the profits and spreads that the retail folks do. But no less, if you can buy this kind of stuff and you can buy for spot or less, that's going to be okay. But again, try to keep it all in the same. What you don't want to do is have 6,000 different finenesses in 650, 720, 750 fine, 800 fine, 9.25 fine, all mixed in the same. If you do buy foreign silver, make sure you put it in bags with, for example, put all your 900 fine coins in one bag of foreign, put all your 800 fine coins, because the last thing any dealer is going to do is go through that for you and figure out all the ASWs. So you need to have this stuff separated when you're buying it. So if you're buying foreign silver, make sure you separate it into groups of fineness. That's it. Not age, not anything else, just fineness. Put all your 900 fine silver foreign coins in one bag, all your 800 fine silver, and try to buy, I'm going to say, try to buy 750 fine or above. Again, pay no more than the spot price. Try to get it for a little bit less than spot, a little bit less. And I will remind you that when you go to sell this stuff, depending on who you go to, it does get discounted pretty heavily. However, if you can buy it cheap enough up front, I don't think that really matters much. As I said, try to stick with the 800 and above fine coins. That would be Canada, US, Panama, and some of the Mexican stuff I think is 720 and above. Again, let me revise that, 720 and above, because there is some good Mexican product that you can buy that's 720 fine. So try not to buy any foreign coins that don't at least have a 720 fine or higher. Again, that's my opinion. Shout out to all the Wall Street Silver Apes out here. You're doing a great job. Keep stacking, guys and gals, and all kinds of, look at this guy stack here. Pretty cool. And remember here, the best advice I can give the Wall Street, my doing this since 1977, being a second generation dealer in rare coins and precious metals on the retail and the wholesale physical markets, I can tell you the best piece of advice I can give the Wall Street Silver Apes. Again, buy the shiny stuff, and you can pay a high premium if you want to, if you like it, just to hang on to it. But for your primary stack, buy the cheapest possible premium that you can buy for a recognizable product. Okay, what this means is that when I say recognizable, not recognizable by your friends or your family or yourself even, recognizable by people in the industry like myself, other dealers. So buy recognizable stuff, industry recognizable product, okay? And make sure that you buy it for the cheapest premium that you can. With silver right now, premiums on some silver products like Silver Eagles can be as high as $9. I've seen some premiums 12, 13, and we've seen them higher in the past, you know that. And the truth is, you should not be paying anything, given that the availability of product out there. If you're paying more than spot plus $4 per ounce for anything, for your primary stack, again, you're just stacking silver, who cares what it looks like, you're paying too much. So for your primary stacking, do not pay more than spot plus $4. And I even think that's a tad high, but there's products out there that you can get closer to that spot plus $3 range. But if you're paying spot plus 5, spot plus 7, spot especially higher than that, you're paying way too much. You'll never get that premium back, and you're losing the opportunity to buy more silver instead of paying for a higher premium. Again, that's just my opinion. Big shout out. Look at how happy this guy is. That's kind of too cool. I like that. He looks like a cat that just ate the mouse or ate the bird or something like that. What do they call that? What a shit-eating grin. Love that picture, by the way. And look how happy he is, too. This is kind of cool. I do like the Wall Street Silver guys. They have great enthusiasm out here. Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of pull out of here and go over into, they're talking about, there's been some talk about their Mr. Turk, I think, from, which is Mr. Turk? One of the articles that I read recently is someone was saying that one of the gold guys was just thinking that Rickards, Mr. Jim Rickards, and maybe we'll get to that article here in a little bit, was feeling that maybe it is transitory. Maybe this inflation that we're seeing is transitory. He feels that the price of cars is going to come down, and I agree with that. I think that the inflation is transitory in some particular items that were being held up because of the closures that we saw in 2020, and for no other reason than that. I mean, again, car business is a great example of that. Manufacturers, things that were produced in cars, a lot of the stuff is going to come down in value. There's no doubt about that, but you can't say that inflation is transitory just because the car prices have backed off a little bit and availability is a little better and some other products. What you got to look at things that people have to use on a daily basis. Look at rents. look at food, look at electricity, look at all this stuff. And again, it does bad. You can't eat television sets, so no matter. So if people says, well, you know, TVs and electronics are still cheap. Well, you can't eat those. Those aren't, you know, I don't even put those in my list of things I consider for inflation. Again, I'm talking about education, I'm talking about food, I'm talking about transportation, I'm talking about energy for, you know, all the things that you need just to live, not to have a happy, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not entertainment value, but to live, okay? And not for luxury value, but to live. Those are the things that I look about. And no matter how you look at it, even if car prices, you know, used car prices come down. Again, Rickards was using used car prices as a guideline of transitory inflation, but again, I think it's a terrible example of that. There's a lot of better other things than food. Does he think that food prices are going to come down? Do you think rents are going to come down? Do you think no? So I kind of disagree with what Mr. Rickards said. Again, we didn't look at that article yet, and all one has to do is look at the, you know. There's also been talk that all the money that's been created, Mr. Rickards had made the point that all the money that has been created all this time over the period of years is sitting in banks. Therefore, it really doesn't qualify as increasing the money supply overall. And there might be some points to that. There might be a point to that. However, when you take a look, Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, purchasing power of the consumer dollar in the U.S. average city. I just tightened this up to a 1 month line. Look at this. This is 1 month, okay? October to November. October 1st and November 1st. Look at this line, folks. The purchasing power. This is a government website, I believe, too, I think. Economic data, maybe not, but based on all the official numbers, take a look at the 1 month, folks, all right? This has nothing to do with used cars. This is just the degradation of the buying power of the U.S. dollar, and we're going to continue. It's been happening forever. Take a look. I mean, let's look at the max chart here. If you look at the maximum chart since the Fed was created in 1913, incidentally, the same time the IRS was created, but that's a different story for a different day. Since the Fed has taken the reins of our U.S. dollar, it's been a downhill. Look, we got a little period here, right here, when it was kind of up a little bit, sideways and up, but basically the path here is downward. So anyone that thinks that inflation is transitory, yeah, it might be on used cars and a few other products, but in the long run, there's nothing transitory about inflation. And what inflation really means is not not that manufacturers and people that produce goods are getting greedy. It just means the dollar buys less and less and less. And you want proof of that? Just take a look at this chart. You can adjust it to however you want, but no matter how you adjust it, even before the used car market went up a trajectory like straight up, it's been a downward path to nothing. That's what happens with fiat currencies. So my opinion in here, folks, and again, I'm not trying to get political here. This is good for gold and silver. So if anyone thinks I'm making a political comment that doesn't have anything to do with gold and silver, no. Gold and silver are going to prevail and do very, very well when we have times of economic dishonesty, when we have times of inflation that just never ends, the greatest bubble of all time, constant money printing, all this stuff. I'm going to read this. This is my own little quote here. In my opinion, and again, I've said this before, this is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have politicians, officials, media, or their specific corporate media spinning to us, and they are doing it already, that the fall of the economy is not their fault. They're all saying that. The people, the politicians, officials, crony corporate media and corporations, they're all trying to put the fall of the economy on the critter 19, and it's bullshit. If anything, we were headed downward anyways. Our economies were heading downward anyway prior to critter 19. All critter 19 did was cause politicians, officials, media, and corporations that would benefit from this to make stupid decisions that really fucked up the economy even far worse than had they just left it alone and not did any mandates. Trust me on this. This is true. So all they did was exasperate the issues. They're going to claim, I love it when government comes in and claims, we're here to help you. Well, first off, they fucked it up to start with. So I love it when people that fuck things up royally come back and offer to help. You know what I'm saying? Oh, how nice of you. But you know, once you realize how bad they fuck things up, do you really want them helping you to fix it? Their idea of a fix is just makes problems worse. In my opinion, it's not the Critter 19 that fucked up the world economy. It is the world's politicians, officials, crony corporations, media and corporations that suck up to them to increase their profits that has screwed us all, folks. Regardless if you are red, blue, or middle, try and remember this come election time. This is a quote from me, and and I'll own up to this, and I believe it 100%. Let's take a look at some examples, all right, of people making things worse. Not too much to talk about in precious metals today as far as ZH goes. Oh, nice to see people are going back to the movie theaters. Spider-Man had actually a lot of people showed up, almost pre-2020 type numbers here. So that's looking good. I think people are finally not so afraid to go to a movie theater right now. They're starting to realize all the bullshit they've been handled for the last couple of years. Boy, I tell you what, if I saw this gentleman in public, I'd probably give him a giant wet goober right in the ear. And what is that, a noogie or whatever, when you grab them by the head and you start rubbing their scalp real. What else would I give him? I'd give him some belly slaps and some other things, but probably a wet willy, a couple wet willies as well, this guy deserves. So if I ever see him in public, I'm definitely going to wet willy that motherfucker. And Europe's energy prices hit new record highs as cold snap arrives. This is not good for Europeans. And listen, we're Americans buying gold. There's a lot of Europeans buying gold and silver. Unfortunately for them, they have a 20% VAT tax. I was speaking to a couple of my customers that are from England that come from the UK, and they were telling me they have been stacking silver and gold, but the problem they have, again, 20% VAT tax, man. Can you imagine going to buy your gold and silver and having to pay an additional 20%? To all my friends in Europe and all my friends in UK, if you can go underground and avoid paying the sales tax and tell them to stick their fucking VAT tax up their asses, I would do that. I don't care if it's illegal or not. You're going to charge me 20%? Go fuck yourself. Anyways, I got that out of my system. That's what I think of European governments that are charging 20% VAT tax on gold and silver. They can go fuck themselves. So to my European friends out there, if you can find a way to cheat and get around that tax, I absolutely encourage you to do that. China cuts benchmark loan for the first time in 20 months to counter economic slowdown. Maybe an economic slowdown that they actually helped create out of that particular lab. You know, it's funny. Prior to the Critter 19, you know, I thought Hong Kong was about to fold. I mean, not Hong Kong. Hong Kong had major riots, man. They weren't happy. The Hong Kong people weren't happy. Taiwan was starting to get a little antsy, which they still are. And the Chinese were starting to catch a lot of flack. Then all of a sudden this came out, and a lot of people, have you seen any more riots in Hong Kong since this thing? No, not really. It seemed to quiet down a lot of those anti-China sentiments because people were so focused on Critter 19. Yes. And again, this is my conspiracy. Someone makes me wonder if this was purposely released out of a particular place in China. But again, everybody knows this stuff, and we're just talking about things. So let's see what happens. I think Turkey stock, boy, Turkey's in big trouble right now too, and that's because the guy that's running their country is a complete economic moron as well. But you reap what you sow, don't you, folks? Is it me, or does it just sound like I'm not going to say that because you know how it goes with the algorithms. Algos don't like you talking anything that they disagree with. Stocks future oil tumble in the lockdowns. God, I got to tell you, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm actually a libertarian, but I kind of consider myself more independent of as of late. Man, I'd almost vote for this guy. I'm not even a Democrat. Got to say, if you get a chance and you agree with Mankind's being the one sole Democrat out there that knocked down that ridiculous $1.75, $2 trillion political package that it was supposed to help them. It wasn't doing anything about helping Americans. It was all about helping a particular party. That's all that spending program was about. But no less, kudos to this man. And if you live in Virginia or you got a free moment today, send Mankin a message via email or call his office and say, good job, even if you're not a blue person. I did. I called him up and said, good job, dude. You're like the old school conservative Democrats. They used to call them blue dogs back in the day. Conservative, fiscally conservative Democrats. Go figure. There used to be such a thing. But now, fiscally responsible Democrats. Those were called blue dogs back in my day, all right, back in the early days. And Mannequin, in my opinion, is a old school blue dog. I mean, he is seriously has concerns about where this economy is headed, and he cares, obviously, all right? And he understands the bullshit that was behind that whole Build Back Better bullshit, all right? So kudos to Mannequin out there. Need more politicians like him. I wish they weren't blue or red, actually. We need some more parties in there, that's my opinion. World Economic Forum postponed for second straight year. You know why? The World Economic Forum in Davis? Because it's a bunch of fucking old billionaires. And they're all, the only reason they were pro-closing down everything, these billionaires and these guys that actually control the earth, old fucks that were worried about their own health. That's it. These sons of bitches right here were more concerned about them catching a virus at their age, which would probably be more deadly at that age. They didn't care if the world went to hell in a handbasket economically because they're doing okay. They don't care if they closed down your job or forced you to take a choice between getting something stuck in your body or not having a job. These fuckers don't care. All they're worried about is getting their own stupid little fucking lives. Excuse my language. These people suck, all right? All right. And again, that's what it was all about. That's what closing everything was all about, is protecting these fuckers and make sure that they survived. Anyways, I could go off on that for a little while. Maybe I will in the future. And claims. Let's take a look at give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see how these companies are doing. You see these companies right here? Let's see how they're doing in these times right here. Probably not too bad, considering, anyways. You know what? I'm not even going to look. I was going to look at their stocks, but their stocks have doubled and tripled since 2020. A lot of them have. A lot of them weren't doing so well until this thing came along. And do you really think that they're an unbiased source of information, whether we to do it or not to do it? I don't think so. They're all about the dollar, just like these fucks right here. In my opinion. All right, I guess I can just go down here and I can start just commenting on every news thing that's going out here. And boy, that's just sad. Again, if I see this guy on the street, he's getting a big wet willy and a noogie for sure. Maybe even a red belly if some of you guys want to help me hold him down. Good for you, sir. Boy, you are my hero of the day, that's for sure. Hero of the week. And I think, this thing with the Russians right now. I don't know why. Sometimes they say that a war or conflict will take people's mind off of a shitty president. If a president's really bad, they'll, in the past they'll say, well, get a war going, keep people's minds off this particular stuff, keep their mind on the war, get that patriotism thing going up. But why the fuck are we poking the bear? I lived through a Cold War when I was a little kid, and really, as a little kid, you do worry about shit, getting blown up in a freaking nuclear disaster, all right? I grew up in that time frame. Why the fuck would politicians from Europe and the United States encourage to push this even further? Now, let me tell you what's going on right here. And again, I'm getting away from gold and silver, but this is good for gold and silver. This kind of uncertainty, this kind of bullshit is good for gold and silver, folks. So remember that. But no less, when the Russians put missiles down in Cuba, 90 miles off the coast of the United States, we were livid, and we had the right to be at the time. I can't argue with that. It was right there. But get this hypocrisy. Europe and the United States wants to stick missiles right along the Russian border in Ukraine. On the Russian fucking border. It would be like the Russians sticking missiles in Mexico and Canada. Are you fucking kidding me? Are our people is our industrial war machine absolutely fucking insane, and our politicians and the people in Europe and the UN? My God, folks, I hope you remember all this shit come the election times, whether you live in Europe or the United States. Oh, man, I'm just going to get kind of really ranty today, so I'm going to stop right now, move over to gata.org, the Globe, 5 big mining companies. JPMorgan fined for $200 million for evading regulators by letting traders use WhatsApp. I got an interesting thing here that I believe is brought up here as well. JPMorgan just got busted again for spoofing or whatever the hell. No, not spoofing, but allowing their traders to use WhatsApp to go outside the communication system and to, to screw us, more or less, without getting caught. That's why they were taking it outside the system, the communication system. But hey, JP's up to it again. They just got paid $200 million. But what I don't understand is that they've already been told that they paid almost $1 billion in fine for spoofing gold and silver markets and the treasury markets. And part of that fine said that they were withholding criminal charges, right? In case, if they did. Why aren't the criminal charges that they were withholding last time, why aren't they being filed now? Since obviously JP has not learned their lesson as far as breaking laws, okay? I'll tell you exactly fucking why. It's because it's collusion with the government. It's collusion with banks. That's why they get away with it. It's a collusion with the SEC. It's collusion with the CFTC, in my opinion, all right? They're involved with it. They allow it to happen. You know why? Because JPMorgan is too big to fail and too fucking big to jail, apparently, all right? Because they just did it again, and they were already warned that if they created any more issues, that they were going to maybe look at criminal prosecution. And that's what they said last time. But meanwhile, do you see any mention in here of criminal prosecution? No, another fine. So what the fuck is up with that, really? Man, I'm on a rant today. Sorry about that, folks, but there is so much bullshit out there, man. And then they expect us to suck it up and accept it as truth? Come on, give me a break. Boy, I am off. Real rates will stay negative, Turk tells King World. This is actually what I was talking about earlier about James Turk says that the effort to curb, interesting article right there. Listen, if you're new to my videos, I highly recommend that you have gata.org on your website. These are the guys that understand how the game is played and how it's rigged and all that other good stuff. Well, I think I'm going to call it the end of the show here. I'm sorry about the last week or two. My shows have been a little bit shorter, not as much topics and things like that. But, it's right before the season. I am overwhelmed. I'm short 2 employees now. So forgive me if the shows are just a tad shorter. Some of you actually might like that. Well, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. We are a local South Florida precious metal dealer and rare coins and other things. So if you live in South Florida, come on by and deal with us. We're happy to tell you what the best deals out there and where to put your money, in our opinion. And if you don't live in my area, unfortunately, I don't do any shipping. We are not an online company. So my recommendation is go out and find yourself a good, handsome, smart dealer like myself. Even if you have to drive an hour or two, keep that money in your state, folks. I don't care if it's tires, I don't care if it's jewelry or coins. Try not to buy online. I advertise to beat APMEX, SD, and JM Bullion. They're great big companies, and I believe they're good reputable companies, and a lot of people order from them. So if you're a local dealer and you're listening to me, beat their prices. You can do it, and you can still make yourself a good buck and keep that money in town. And if you're a local buyer, check with your local dealers. Again, if you can buy it for the same price, a little bit less, and even a tad more, keep that money local, folks. I highly recommend it. Well, that's it. My first happy holidays here because it's coming up this week, and hope everyone is doing well. Got any questions? Don't hesitate to call me. Or if you got questions, make it in the comments section. I always answer comments. Didn't do it last Friday. There weren't too many comments because I got the video out so late. But I'd like to thank everybody for watching and commenting. Hey, thanks. Have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.